Three Grots in a Vox is intended for a mature audience. This means there will be crude language and discussions of adult themes, especially if we're talking about tactical marines or Gabriel Seth. Viewer discretion is not only advised but encouraged. All opinions are our own and often given for humorous purposes. Any advice is given largely for entertainment purposes and would probably be ignored. But if you do learn something useful, count it as a win.
Okay, welcome back, Grots fans, to Agents of the Imperium Part 2. We're talking a tier list of the Inquisitors. Tony, off the top of the head, how many Inquisitors do you think is in this book?
4.
Damn it, I thought you might. you know.
Right. Well, let me. You've got your 3 Ordos. Then you've got some sort of probably special character for those. And then you've got your generic Inquisitor, who can be from any of the 4. So that's my 3 special characters, 1 all-rounder.
Well, they used to have a bajillion special different Inquisitors, but a lot of them have gone, sadly. The huge 40k guy who's crazy on a walking throne with a
Theodore.
and all that stuff, yeah.
Theodore Karamazov. Yeah, and it's a model that I don't own, and I used to have a metal one, and I don't know what happened to it. I either sold it, lost it, or gave it away, and now I don't have one, and I'm sad.
And what happened to Eisenhorn?
They just decided not to bother. They just decided not to bother.
Okay. At the same time, they've just released a big thing about reading the Eisenhorn books, you know?
Yeah.
You should Eisenhorn, the absolute blah, blah, blah. Loads of articles about Eisenhorn, but we're not going to give you the model. I suppose, was it a limited release, Black Library?
It was a limited Black Library release, but they also made enough of it that it never went off sale. There was plenty of copies of it around.
Yeah, no.
I'll tell you what, the other one I've been looking for.
Yeah.
Do you remember Inquisitor, the game?
Yep.
I'd love the Inquisitor Eisenhorn.
That was a good model.
That was a very good model. They were 54mm, so they were fantastic for painting.
I've got one of the Watch Captain Artemis at that scale kicking around.
That's a beautiful model as well.
One day, but
that's another one that's really worth putting the effort in and properly painting well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's jump into the first data sheet of Inquisitors. So
this is generic Inquisitor, is it?
Yes, that's where we're starting. And there's some interesting things about Inquisitors and what they can attach to. So we need to be aware of that. And for example, this model can be attached to Imperium Battle Line Infantry as a generic term. So any battle line unit that has the Imperium keyword, he could potentially lead them, right? And that's something different than we had before.
Yeah. With GW's thing of we only have rules to models that we sell, and all the old stuff is crap. And the fact that this model was released with the 3rd edition Witch Hunters Codex in metal.
Imperial Battleline Infantry, I see, okay. To be fair, though, they've released like a bajillion different generic Inquisitors. That's one of them.
They have, and that's why I think it's the only regular sold one still, this Finecast version of a metal miniature.
Don't know. I know they're doing another one with Warhammer Plus this year. Not that I'm subscribing, so I don't really care.
They do. But... And then they had the event miniature last year. It was a really cool one, stabbing a boot.
Yeah, with the little flames rising up for it. That was nice.
That was really cool. There's been plenty of Forge World ones and things like that.
My favourite one was the one that was in Terminator armor with a combi needle bolter weird thing back from the day when the first Games Workshop book was called Inquisitor, and that was just a stupid, crazy batshit.
Mine is, they did a very similar version of this guy, but instead of having the kind of the sword post thing, he had a plasma pistol. And he was a limited edition release in metal many years ago. And that's my favourite one. I've still got him. He's the Inquisitor that I use if I need an Inquisitor.
So I just built that plastic one very recently from Warhammer Plus that you were talking about.
Yeah.
This guy is 55 points if he's part of the Agents of Imperium or if he's not. So flat 55 points.
So you can join any Imperium Battleline Infantry or any of the big list of squads that are there as well.
Yeah. So you could join those heavy intercessors that you want to field mark. He could go in a transport with them. If you use a stratagem on them, on a 3-up, you gain a CP back. he also gives any unit that he's leading a 6-up invuln save.
He can join a unit of Death Company in the new Death Company detachment.
Yeah, it's got the battle line.
Oh man,
I never even thought of that. Okay,
could he actually benefit it in the slightest? Would there be
Yeah,
any use whatsoever?
invuln save.
you could give them an invuln save if that might be worth it. He
And
has
also, to be fair, the CP thing, there's a lot of CP getting chucked
you're
at
going
those
to target
Death Company.
Death Company with stratagems quite often. That's a fair point. Okay, maybe it's not complete dog shit. 55 points.
Here's a really dumb question.
Yeah.
The Death Company have that stratagem that lets you fire Overwatch or Heroic Intervention for free. Does that mean you do it for free and then a 3-up you gain a command point back?
Yes. Yes, because you've targeted that model's unit with a stratagem.
Wow. Okay. Well, that could be interesting if you just take 2 5-man Foot Death Company and have an Inquisitor lead each one, and you just try and Overwatch every turn and get
It's
CP.
not an epic hero, you could do that. Yeah. You're capped at 1 CP per turn, of course, via the universal rule.
Yeah.
You lose their 6-up invuln save though if you bring the Psychic Flamethrower.
Oh right, yeah. You if you can. So his weapon options
You either have Blessed Wardings, which is the invuln save.
Oh, Blessed Wardings is war
Flame
gear.
Thrower.
Right, I see.
Yeah.
Sorry. You're
Or
either
you can-
a Psyker or you're warded against Psychic. That's
Yeah. But his flamer isn't bad, right? 2d6 shots, dev wounds, -2. I mean, the strength's a bit dog shit, but the dev wounds is nice on 12 shots, I guess.
Yeah.
It's all right off of a Overwatch, isn't it? And you also gain, if you do that, you gain a force weapon.
Yeah.
Wait,
So
yeah. Okay.
So okay, 55 points, toughness 3, 4-up, 5-up invuln, leadership 6. He's fine, I guess.
Yeah, I can think of worse things to spend 55 points on.
Would you actually include him on anything Imperium, I guess?
Probably not.
No, but there's worse things. I just wouldn't actually.
Yeah, I mean, 55 points is an awkward number as well right now, because if you think about it, like, they made Scouts 65 points, so when you only got 55 points at the end of the list, you can't fit any Space Marine units in.
He costs exactly the same as a Tech Marine, I think.
How much benefit do you actually get from a 6-up invuln if you don't already have one? Really?
Not that much.
The only thing you're really, because like this is kind of where I'm with him. 55 points is an upgrade to a battle line unit. I don't think of any battle line units that I really care about enough to upgrade, apart from Death Company to Death Company detachment, which is just a bit of a meme.
Yeah, it's a huge meme.
And then maybe it'd be worth it just because if you're going to blow a lot of CP on that squad.
I've been sent to investigate the Blood Angels. I've heard there's something weird about them. They put me in this army where everybody's wearing black.
If I was going to run like a unit of
weird
Death Company with a load of nastiness on it, it's probably going to have a jump pack, and then it's going to have Lamates or Astarath.
Yeah.
So it's only going to be in the off chance that I'm going to run a Foot Death Company. I don't want to run a Chaplain because I can't quite afford one. But I still want it to be quite large and spend a lot of CP on it.
Yeah, then the Inquisitors actually have. So tell me, where in said tier list do you put this Inquisitor?
C tier.
Yeah, I can't quite put him in D, but he's definitely no higher than a C.
He's pretty situational. I think he's probably going to see a lot more use in his own army.
Okay.
Gaining a CP back can be very useful.
It's not the worst thing, is it?
Yeah.
There's a few pretty good strats that Imperial Agents get. So having him running around with some breaches or various cool units and things.
You won't get access to those strats if you include it in a Blood Angels army, though.
Yeah.
Sorry?
You only get access to those strats if the whole army is that detachment.
Yeah, absolutely. So in a Blood Angels army, C, and I think that's been pretty generous, to be honest.
Yeah.
Okay, so next up we have Mr. Big Pul. Mr. Big Greaves himself. Cote
I think it's more the cod piece that is.
Oh yeah, big cod piece as well. Yeah, he is 95 points for Imperium. For the actual agents, he is 75 points. So 20 points cheaper if he's part of Agents of the Imperium.
For a while, he's been the only Inquisitor I'd have considered using. Really?
Yeah, he used to have a bunch of attacks from the bird. So what has he got now?
And the whole vecting ability where he'd mess around with stratagem use and the CP costs and so forth.
Yeah.
So you can still attach to Imperium Battle Line infantry, so you can still do that.
Okay.
He's got a reasonably okay psychic ranged attack. He's got a pretty hefty melee weapon, but only 3 attacks with it. And he only hits on 3.
Yeah.
The Eagle removing benefits of cover within 18 inches is pretty good. But then again, is that really of much use based on the shooting of the unit that you're... Oh, it doesn't have to benefit the whole army. Unit you're shooting with.
So
the whole army, yeah.
So potentially, if you've got a big old gun line and there's people like actually yesterday, my Sikaran got absolutely screwed because there was one man in a squad hiding behind a low wall.
It might synergize relatively well with indirect fire as well, because indirect fire always gives you the benefits of cover. But if you can't benefit from the benefits of cover, then
so
your indirect fire is being
not bad. 18 inches does limit its use.
I think whoever designed this Eagle's rule must have read the Driz to Erden books. You know that? There's an eagle in that book that the blind ranger had that marked the targets. I think that's
and it's a popular mechanic in Age of Sigmar as well. Or if not popular, then it is in the Lumineth. They've got things that do a similar sort of mechanic to it with the birdies that they have.
I was going to say, Blood Angels really struggle, and we have no way of gaining CP typically throughout the game. This guy gives you, every time your opponent gains a CP, roll a 2 up, you also gain 1.
As a result of an ability, that's an important line, because like you just said, Blood Angels haven't got any way of doing that, really. So if you're bringing one along to play against Blood Angels, then that ability is going to do nothing.
Yes, true.
But if you're bringing it against Eldar, who's got the ability to gain CP through Autarchs and things like that, then it can be worthwhile.
So you're bringing a unit that against certain opponents that can rack up CP, you're going to be able to do exactly the same.
Yeah.
But against ones that aren't very good with CP, you're still in the same boat.
Yeah, you'll just benefit from it, not at all.
So remove cover with an 18, get a 6-up invuln on your unit, and get a 4-up invuln against Psychic and Demons. Pretty situational. Potentially gain that CP, pretty situational. 95 points for 3 hits with a Strength 9 Thunderhammer that is flat 3 damage. And then potentially a few dev wounds on the shooting phase. Good against infantry, good against demons. He's toughness 3, 4 wounds.
It's reasonable. It's only 5 up anti-infantry.
Yeah, so average again. But then every 5 up is a dev wound, so a couple of dev wounds, I guess. Right?
Yeah.
I don't think he's very good.
No, neither do I. He's about as useless as useful as the last one, really.
He's too many points for...
Oh, no, he's like 30, 40 more points, isn't he? Yeah, ooh.
Yeah, he's 40 more points. He's 95 points if you're rallying him into Blood.
I really like that hammer, but 3 attacks isn't enough.
No, 3 attacks when you're going to miss one of the times is definitely
so you're only going to do 2.
You're probably going to fail one of the wound rolls because that's how.
You're wounding on a 3 up. The chances are.
Yeah.
So the question then is the removing the benefit of cover within 18 inches worth the inclusion?
Probably not.
If it was 24, maybe. If 18 is just a little bit too short for that sort of thing.
Yeah. I think he's too many points. I think if he was the same, if he was something like 60 points or 70 points, then I think he could be quite strong. But at 95, I think he's too many.
So C?
No. Yeah. I mean, I'd put him in D, personally.
You really think D? All his benefits are no use whatsoever?
All his benefits are much the same as the last one. He has one benefit the last one doesn't do, and he costs almost double the amount of the last one.
No, that's not true. He's got a couple of benefits. But the difference is, I suppose, I think his spy network is actually equivalent of, because, again, it's only going to work in certain opponents. Against demons, he's going to be much better.
It's a bit situational.
So against chaos, he's going to be very powerful.
That's not going to be very often at all.
Which isn't necessarily going to be very often. I don't think he's a D. I think he's a C.
Okay. 2 C's, 1 D. You're overruled, I'm afraid, Mark.
Fair enough.
We'll go with the majority here. Yeah, he's borderline, I guess.
He's very borderline.
All right, let's move on to
stupid model.
Draxus. Draxus is 75 points in Agents of the Imperium, and he is 95 points again if you want to ally him with regular Imperium.
It's definitely a she, this one.
It is actually. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Wearing a Xenos skull on her shoulder with a Xenos dragon pet and an Eldar shuriken catapult in her hand. I wonder which Ordo this one could possibly be a member of.
So the same rule applies. She can go...
Ordo Kronos.
Yeah, that's one.
She can go inside a transport. She's a Xenos hunter.
Yeah.
While this model is leading a unit, each time the model makes an attack against an enemy unit that does not have the Imperium or the Chaos keyword, add 1 to the hit roll. She can once again join Imperium battle line infantry. Every non-Imperium in Chaos is a decent coverage, though, right?
I mean, yeah, but it's still a third of the field.
Yeah. In your command phase, the Psyker can use this ability. If it does, roll a d6 on a 1. The Psyker's unit takes d3 mortals. On a 2 up until the start of your next command phase, this Psyker unit can only be selected as a target of a ranged attack if the enemy is 18. So some sort of like pseudo-self mechanic.
So the argument there is this model any use outside of 18 inches? Where it can benefit from that ability?
No, not really. Unless you've got some kind of battle line unit that's got loads of really big guns that you want to use to shoot, but I can't think of anything like that.
The firepower from a heavy intercessor squad might be worth it, maybe.
That's maybe your only option. 10 heavy intercessors, but no one runs heavy intercessors on 10. The 10 heavy intercessors that can't be shot back at is not nothing. What's the range on a heavy intercessor these days? It's 30, right?
30, 36 maybe?
Yeah.
I will check. What else has she got? Any good melee weapons or anything like that?
She's got Power Fist.
3 attack Power Fist.
Only a human, so...
Strength 6, yeah, it's not the best. Anti-infantry 4, Shuriken Catapult. Dev wounds. Assault.
I mean, that's all right. You're probably going to get 4 You're going to get 4 damage through with dev wounds.
Yeah, that's not nothing.
But it doesn't synergize at all with her ability of keeping them outside of 18.
It just means that if they get in a bit close, then
you can run away or you can shoot and then get shot back.
Okay. So she can use both her melee both her ranged weapons, though, right? Because neither
that's
are
right. Because one is a gun and the other is a psychic power.
I see. Okay, so she can do some damage, but she doesn't synergize with her ability. For the record, heavy intercessors do actually have 30 inches, so you could keep a unit of heavy intercessors untargetable for a couple of turns, potentially, if you wanted to gun down some infantry. That's not the worst idea in the world, but she is 95 points. Is she worth I can't see it.
She's 75.
Getting within 18 is also not difficult.
Yeah. She's 75 if you're part of the Agents of the Imperium detachment, but 95 if you're just attaching her to like any model that has the Imperium keyword.
If she was 75, I think she was actually not bad, but 95 way over cost is still low C.
Low C?
Same as the last guy.
Okay.
Right.
We're not having much luck with these. Yeah, I don't think I would use her.
No, I'd put it in D. I don't see any situation in which I'd want to bring this model or this character.
I kind of hate it when they design these models or these rules.
It's really flavourful. So if you're doing this whole narrative thing against a particular army in a particular situation with a particular story, great, cool. But in a tournament, nah.
I would run her, but because I love that kind of narrative, fluffy style of playing.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think the thing with the heavy interest is just a bit cheesy and probably not worth 95 points.
No, not worth 95 points. I'd agree. Especially since it's unreliable, because you know that one turn you need it to go off field. You should roll a 1 and take psychic backlash. Nah.
Okay.
I'm not with this one.
Cool. Then she goes on C as well. So, our last Inquisitor. I'm hoping for something good, because we've had 3 Cs so far. This is Inquisitor Greyfax. He is 65 points if you just have the Imperial.
Also a she, again.
Keyword, thank you. And
I mean, there's two very shiny protuberances. I know we shouldn't judge, but
I'm just reading the pronouns in the fluff text, to be honest.
So 65 points for both with or without Agents of the Imperium. So she's only 10 points more than that standard.
Okay.
So
she's definitely not a psyker. She's very anti-psyker because she's meant to be anti-heretics. This one, so traitors.
That makes me sad. You can't give the old because you used to be able to give the crossbows to all of your witch hunter psychers. Let's see, witch hunter inquisitors, and that was always cool. Okay, they're always crap, but given the anti-psyker crossbow to.
Okay, so she gives anti-psyker 4-up to a unit that she leads, and while this model is leading unit, each time this model makes an attack roll that targets unit that's below half strength, you add 1 to the hit roll.
That's next to useless as an ability, to be honest.
Yeah, it's not the greatest ability, is it?
Yeah.
She's a power sword with 2 damage, 4 attacks. It's only strength 4. She is an anti-character 4-up dev wounds, but just 1 shot at damage 3. And then she has an anti-psyker 2-up dev wounds, 1 shot rapid fire, damage 1.
Giving anti-psyker is nice if you're fighting psychers, which you've already established is in the previous video, is going to be at most like 50% of the field in any given tournament, give or take. No mercy when you attack a unit that is below half strength. Who cares, really?
Yeah,
you're never going to be able to guarantee that's the case when you need it, and if it is a need, then they're probably pretty screwed anyway.
Yeah, can you see any unit that she would be good to attach to?
Should be brilliant if you're fighting Thousand Suns.
Or Grey Knights.
Fighting
Grey Knights. The Inquisitor would be really useful.
I wouldn't surprise me.
What are we doing? Grey Knights are terrorising the village. Let's bring an Inquisitor. Yeah, woo. Oh, it's fucking stupid.
So she's very situational, but against psychic-y armies, she's got a bit of use at 65 points. She's still overcosted. So she's a side grade from your standard guy, isn't she, really?
For a few extra points, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing I can see is she's got that 1 dev wound shot against a character 4-up. You do 3 damage. But, I mean, most of the time the character is going to be in a unit, so what does that realistically mean? It means you kill 1 guy.
No, it's got precision.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so if you're within 18
it's
inches...
It's still a 4-up to do 3 damage.
Yeah, you can precision 3 damage off a character. So by some miracle, if she survives a whole other turn and hits again and wounds again, you maybe can kill that character. Because let's be fair, most characters have more than 3 wounds.
But realistically, let's face it, if you want this attached to a unit, it's because you want to give that unit anti-psyker 4-up on their shooting. And that's nice, but it's also not always useful.
And not that meaningful, anti-psyker 4-up. Like, unless you've got a unit that could have, like, dev wounds, but I can't... There's no battle line unit that's going to run around with dev wounds, is there?
I can think of.
No, but then again, there are some high toughness, unpleasant psychers kicking around, people like Mortarion and Magnus.
Yeah. So if you want to take 10 heavy intercessors and pepper them with anti-psyker 4-up just to make them loose.
That's genuinely relatively powerful, that.
Yeah. That's your one play here. I don't think I could put her higher than a C, though. Can you?
Yeah, again, due to the niche usability. You're absolutely right.
Do you agree, Tony?
What's that, sorry?
I don't think we can put her higher than a C, can we?
No.
So, just because I know you guys can't see the tier list on your screens, but the audience can see it, just so everyone's aware, we have 4 crap Inquisitors.
And can I just check this? I actually did at the beginning of this movie literally guess this correctly. 3 special characters, 1 from each Ordos, and 1 generic Inquisitor.
You did?
You did, yeah.
Absolutely. Props to you. Here's to you, Tony.
What is it they said? Simplified Simple, not simplified. I can't remember what it is.
Simplified, but not simple.
Yeah, there you go. That was this. I feel like this is the most anticlimactical tier list we've ever done. There wasn't a single good unit.
No, actually, can I just point out that a few years ago we actually tier listed the assassins?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And we put all of them in C.
Oh, we did that already. Okay. So what goes around comes around, I guess.
Like 8th or 9th edition, yeah. At least in this case, the assassins that we've done in the previous video, at least one of them was seriously badass.
Yeah. I feel like we've been really down on these Inquisitors, and I don't mean to be, because I don't think that they're the sort of thing you should be bringing if you're playing. If you're like ultra competitive and I want to win this tournament, and that's what I'm interested in, and I think the rule that means that one guy can stand behind the wall and give the whole squad cover is a good thing. If you're that kind of player, you're never going to be looking at these.
Yeah.
But if you're the sort of person that thinks, do you know what would be really cool? A wicked cool board with a really cool narrative mission to play, and we're going to fight this particular battle, and it's going to be me and my mates, and we're going to be having a right laugh, playing against 1,000 Suns, or going after demons, trying to get the relic, and this sort of stuff, then all of a sudden your Inquisitors are really, really, really cool.
Absolutely. Not 100%. Totally agree with you.
You know, they're not so shit that you're absolutely crippling yourself by putting one in your army. There's not that many points in the grand scheme of things. So they're just a cool, fluffy thing you can put in your army.
Mm-hmm.
They're balanced a little bit on the weaker side, but it's a bit like saying I want to play with legends because they're cool.
Yeah, that's fair. I think
they've done a good job. Genuinely, thoughts on that book? I think it's a good book.
I didn't buy the Agents of the Imperium book, but a lot of people are telling me that they want to see my thoughts on Death Watch and Grey Knights from that book.
Including a squad of each of those in a Blood Angels army. Yeah, that figures.
I don't think it's a particularly strong book, but I think it's an incredibly characterful book. And in addition, where they've yanked all the character out of so many armies, bringing these back, which we've been missing, they haven't really been a part of 40k since 6th edition, maybe 7th.
They've been present, but not really there. Yeah.
So they've just been on. So the fact that they're back in the core in 10th, I think is one of the best things that we've seen out of 10th edition. So I'm really pleased. I'm glad they're not overpowered because they should be really rare.
Fair enough.
Cool. Okay. Awesome. If you enjoyed this video or you want to see our Assassins video, that'll be on the channel right now. You can click below and check it out.
We'll make that pop up somewhere at the top of the screen.
Absolutely. If you find value in what we do, consider supporting us on Patreon for the price of a coffee a month or something like that. Help us do what we do and buy cool books to review and look over and dig into for your edification. Do this thing. Yeah, we love it.
And on that note,
we'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Cheerio.